Hi, and welcome back. Over the last few weeks, I've been using the cut page more and more, and despite many inconsistencies and frustrations, I think that there are a number of features which every editor should be aware of. So this is my guide to advanced cut page tips in DaVinci Resolve.
My name is Chris Lang and I'm the founder of Warrior Mountain Outfitters.
Firstly, the source tape is a very flexible way of viewing and selecting your footage. I've covered how to use this feature in a previous video, so you'll find a link in the description below. It's worth mentioning though that the source tape stays active as you're working, so you can choose the shots that you're looking for without having to switch back and forth between the timeline. This also means that you can edit without having to stop playback.
The landscapes. I can honestly say it's changed my life.
Enabled from the timeline options menu, the trim to audio feature is useful once you start trimming clips. When activated, you'll see a large waveform display when trimming any clip with audio, and is perfect for ensuring these sound bites have clean in and outs. Adding cutaways in the cut page is also easy because you can actually specify the duration of the shot you want rather than having to add the out point manually.
All right, go ahead.
Here, I'll add an in point to this clip. By clicking in the duration field, I can specify a 3-second duration. This automatically adds the out point at the correct place. So now I can add that to the timeline using place on top. I'll add this clip with another 3-second duration. And this with a 2-second duration. And when it comes to adjusting those cutaways, the trimming functions in the cut page are actually surprisingly sophisticated. You don't need to activate any special trim mode either. Simply select the edit point and trim. Clicking on this icon in any timeline clip will enable you to slip it. And to slide a clip, just simply hold the Shift key and the slip icon changes to a slide icon. And another useful feature of the cut page is the ability to be able to disable the ripple trimming. By default, trimming on the V1A1 track ripples the rest of the timeline. Disabling the ripple option means I can now freely move the clips in the timeline, similar to the edit page. If I right-click the playhead in the detailed timeline, I can use this option to select all the clips forward of my playhead. So now I can drag them to create a gap to help pace these sound bites. You can select all the clips after the playhead by pressing Option or Alt-Y, a shortcut that also works in the edit page. Turning ripple back on now means I can refine the duration of those gaps. When it comes to audio, the cut page has some unassuming buttons that make it simple to switch between clip and track-based adjustments. Here I've got a couple of interview clips selected, and in the inspector I can use the volume controls to adjust the audio level of both of these clips. But by clicking this button, I can now easily switch to making track level adjustments for the selected clips, including enabling the dialogue leveler, and if you're working in the studio version, voice isolation. Click the clip button to return back to clip level changes on the selected clip. Another useful cut page only feature is the close-up function. This is particularly useful if you want to quickly punch in for a close-up of a shot. Here I want to resize this final clip for an even bigger close-up. Instead of doing this manually using the transform controls, I can just click this close-up edit button. This re-edits the same clip above the original clip starting at the playhead position, but adjusts the scale to try and give a close-up version. In this case the result is a little off, so I'll just quickly adjust the vertical position for perfect framing. And the cut page also has a huge advantage when it comes to multi-camera editing, thanks to a unique editing function. As you can see, this interview was shot across multiple cameras. Now I want to cut to another camera angle at the end of this soundbite here. So I'll add an in point where I want to cut to the new angle, and an out point at the start of the B-roll clip. I know that this soundbite is from the first take, so I can use the source tape to locate the corresponding angle from one of the other cameras. All I need to do now is click the Source Overwrite button. And voila! The exact portion of the clip is instantly edited into precisely the right location of the timeline.
In our store in Las Cruces, New Mexico.
I'll just simply mute the new clip to prevent the audio from doubling up. While this may seem like magic, it's not, although to be honest, it's not far off. But Resolve is simply using the timecode of the two clips to be able to match the two parts of the shots together. And here's a pro tip in case you don't have matching timecode. Simply use clip attributes to adjust any clip's timecode for your current project. However, there's another method for using multicam footage in the cut page, and that's using something called the sync bin. The sync bin displays all the clips with matching timecode from the current position in the timeline. If you don't have matching timecode, then you can also manually sync clips together. Switching to the source tape, I'll select the interview clips I want to sync, and then click the Sync Clips button. This window displays the sync mapping for those selected clips, allowing me to sync using either timecode, audio, in or out points. Just select the preferred method and click the sync button to update the sync map. I'm going to continue using timecode to sync these clips and save the sync. And now the sync clips each display this coloured label, with different set of synced clips having different coloured labels. Reopening the sync bin means when I move my timeline playhead over an appropriate clip, I can now set the in and the out points in the timeline as before. Selecting the angle I want adds matching in and out points automatically. I'll select a video only edit so I don't need to mute the audio afterwards, and use the Source Overwrite edit to place the clip in the timeline. I'll just return the playhead to before the new clip, switch back to the timeline viewer, and play back to review.
And we bring it back to the store, and that's really where the design process starts.
There's also a handy feature in case you accidentally move a clip that's been edited using Source Overwrite. If that happens, this warning symbol appears telling you that the clip is no longer in sync. If that's the case, then you can resync the clip by clicking the Edit Actions menu and choosing Resync Clip to instantly realign it. Don't forget, you can use any of these tips even if you prefer to use the edit page for your editing, because you can quickly switch between the edit page and the cut page and back again without disrupting any of your work. That's the beauty of Resolve. Thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and until next time, take care.